The Mario and Luigi Brothership situation is insane. Mario and Luigi Brothership quickly became one of the year's most anticipated Switch games, bringing a fresh burst of colour and charm to the gaming world just when it's needed most. This delightful looking RPG looks like it would offer a lively escape, injecting fun and amusement into a landscape that's been craving something traditional like this. The game was expected to deliver pure drama-free enjoyment. It is a refreshing change of pace in the modern environment, offering a light-hearted, carefree experience worlds away from real-life hassles. Days before the game even hit shelves, though, all hell broke loose, and a firestorm began, sparking intense debate online. The source of this outrage, the largest and most powerful gaming news site on planet Earth, thoroughly burying the game. IGN weighed in with a brutal 5 out of 10 for this one, an unusually low score by their standards, especially when compared to games universally panned by consumers like Dustborn and Concord, which both managed to scrape by with a 7 using IGN's metric. When you consider that Nintendo games are known for a certain level of quality, and many major gaming outlets have awarded this one a 9 out of 10, it begs the question, how reliable is IGN's review in this instance? So, what's going on here? Why did Mario and Luigi Brothership, a game that most seem to love, get such a harsh verdict from gaming's biggest online voice? Is IGN onto something everyone else has missed? Or, like in many cases in the past, have they missed the mark entirely? So, without further ado, let's dig deep into the controversy surrounding this review, explore why fans are up in arms, some of their salacious claims, and discuss the potential truth behind IGN's shocking score. I am Lady Decade, hit that subscribe button. This is why the IGN Mario and Luigi drama is so much worse than you think. If there is one thing that has become increasingly clear online recently, it is that corporate review scores do not always reflect the opinions of the gaming public. You know, the consumers who make and break games' successes. Tired of gaming sites steering you wrong? Forget the mixed messages. User reviews are where the real truth lies. And with my exclusive affiliate links, you can snag massive discounts on some of the most loved games out there, from blockbusters like Metaphor, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Black Myth Wukong, to Space Marines 2. I've got you covered on everything from AAA hits to indie gems and retro classics. Just click on my links in the pinned comment to access unbeatable deals and fill up your gaming library for a fraction of the cost. There's something here for everyone, so dive in, start saving, and happy gaming. In the same couple of days, Sony would make everyone very sad and angry by dedicating half of their State of Play presentation to the embarrassing Concord. The Nintendo Direct we would witness would be much more palatable. This would include seeing Mario and Luigi Brothership, the highly anticipated new entry in the beloved Mario and Luigi series, developed by Acquire and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. This marks the 6th main installment and the series' exciting return after a nearly decade-long hiatus. Considering the amount of Mario RPGs we've been spoiled with lately, no one saw this coming, especially with it breaking new ground, with fully 3D gameplay and the debut of the series on a home console. Set in the vast sea of Concordia and its many islands, Mario and Luigi Brothership takes players on an unforgettable oceanic adventure. Mario and Luigi journey across the waters on a ship-shaped island, a unique structure that's part ship, part island, blending seafaring with exploration in a way that only the Mario and Luigi series can deliver. The trailer, looking to stay true to the series, also revealed that the iconic gameplay style of the series past would return, bringing back the advanced jump and hammer attacks that allow both brothers to work together in battle. However, much of the excitement and goodwill surrounding Mario and Luigi Brothership has soured into outrage and frustration, all thanks to IGN's bold declaration that, in their opinion, the game is a disappointment which has missed the boat. This harsh verdict has ignited a wave of annoyance among fans who had eagerly anticipated the game's release. But then again, who cares about IGN, right? Well, sadly, a lot more people than you think. IGN's dominance at the top of the search results is no accident. It's a calculated grip on the flow of entertainment information, wielded with a near unbreakable authority. By leveraging decades of online experience, exploiting SEO tactics, and strategically aligning with game studios and publishers for exclusive content, IGN ensures that its voice is often the first one gamers online will encounter. Money fuels IGN's ironclad hold over Google results, giving them an advantage that few others can challenge. Backed by vast resources, they can invest in cutting-edge services to manipulate search rankings and maintain relationships with game studios and production companies, giving them significantly more power than all other critics. This lets them flood the market with heavily optimized content at a rate that smaller sites simply can't afford to match. The sheer wealth behind IGN allows them to dominate the field, ensuring their version of events is amplified while less funded other voices are buried under an avalanche of their articles and reviews. With a sprawling content network, they cast an all-encompassing web that helps to shape the narrative around games, movies and shows, while maintaining an illusion of impartiality that's backed by algorithms and massive traffic. This means that money not only buys them visibility, but subtly steers the opinions of millions, crafting an illusion of consensus that leaves little room for dissent. This setup all but guarantees that alternative voices are pushed down, leaving IGN's perspective as the first one that millions of users are exposed to every day. This is why when people dismiss videos like this, saying things like, "Who cares, it's only IGN," they're actually overlooking a deeply troubling issue. Sure, we can turn to sites like Metacritic to get a broader view, but for the casual gamer online, the IGN review score might be the only one they see, especially since their reviews consistently top Google search results. This gives IGN's voice far more influence than many realise. When IGN reviews a game and presents an opinion sharply at odds with the general consensus, it raises serious concerns about the power they wield. Power that can be excessive or even harmful. Perhaps the most absurd aspect of all of this is that IGN, despite its influence, likely as a cost-cutting measure, still relies on a single reviewer to assess each game, a practice that's both laughably simplistic and an embarrassingly poor standard for a platform of its size. By entrusting just one individual's perspective, IGN promotes narrow, biased opinions with little to no attempt to incorporate broader consensus or balance. For an outlet that holds such sway over public opinion, this approach is glaringly inadequate, resulting in potentially unnecessary drama like the swirl that is currently circling Mario and Luigi Brothership on social media. I think the discourse around this is going to get really messy. The truly astounding part is that IGN has shown time and time again just how spectacularly they can miss the mark. They've handed out 4 out of 10s to cult classics like Double Dragon Neon and Lollipop Chainsaw, games that have since become fan favourites. Each of these misguided reviews was met with a well-deserved backlash and ridicule, as fans couldn't help but shake their heads at what they saw as IGN's shallow, poorly constructed feedback. It's almost impressive how consistently they managed to underestimate what players love, but giving such a dismal score to a highly anticipated Mario game? That's uncharted territory even for them. And bearing in mind so many other sources have given it a 9 out of 10, I'm really looking forward to seeing where this journey leads. Honestly, this situation is going to require a lot of popcorn, so sit back and watch it unfold. After all, Nintendo fans are famously passionate, and when a review even slights one of their beloved franchises, they can be downright fierce. Let's be clear, a poor review of a major Mario title is practically a declaration of war, and IGN's dismissive take on Mario and Luigi Brothership is sure to spark a firestorm. The game is not even out, and fans are flooding social media with counter-arguments, tearing down IGN's points, and even creating memes mocking the review. If there is any review in history that is likely to showcase why IGN's opinion shouldn't be trusted, if they haven't got this one right, then the drama that will be unleashed will be off the scale, and Nintendo fans will likely make IGN feel the heat for every word. This is gonna get hilarious. According to IGN Corporate, IGN assigns games to reviewers who have a genuine interest and expertise in the genre or series, ensuring informed and passionate evaluations. This, of course, explains why games like Concord and Dustborn earned their illustrious 7 out of 10s under IGN's highbrow metric and were, in their esteemed opinion, classified as good games. If the target audience for a game is roughly the size of a dinner party, say about 12 people, IGN must have felt Dustborn was more than sufficient for that exclusive circle of players. After all, it's not like they need to cater to a crowd any larger, right? Let's be clear, we're not talking about some niche nonsense crafted for the enjoyment of random weirdos and alternative losers here, are we? This time, we're talking about a Mario game. Yes, Mario, a universally adored character, easily one of, if not the, most iconic figures in gaming history, and IGN wants us to believe he is in an RPG that is dreadful? Sounds a bit sus to me. From both my perspective and a critical standpoint, Mario RPGs have consistently ranged from good to excellent within the genre, with Paper Mario Sticker Star widely regarded as the weakest entry in the lineup. Even though plenty of gamers didn't enjoy this one, IGN still awarded it an impressive 8.3 out of 10, significantly higher than the Metacritic average of 75 out of 100 and miles above the dismal 5.4 out of 10 user score it scraped together. For full transparency, I'll admit that I cautiously enjoy Sticker Star. For me, it suffers from the same issues as The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask and Final Fantasy XIII-3 Lightning Returns. It features an intimidating mechanic that, on first encounter, feels like it could ruin the game. In Majora's Mask and Lightning Returns cases, it's the ominous countdown to the end of the world, creating an uncomfortable sense of anxiety that can make you want to stop playing before you really get going. In Sticker Star, there's the need to collect individual stickers to perform any attack, which gives the impression you'll run out and be left helpless. That false sense of impending limitation is what made me and many others set aside all these games the first time we played them, but on the second attempt, I loved each of these. In Sticker Star's case, I enjoyed the game and clearly IGN enjoyed it too. However, the general public had a very different reaction, with many outright rejecting Sticker Star. This disconnect reveals that IGN's review didn't really capture how most gamers would experience and feel about the game. While IGN praised it, mostly focusing on its unique mechanics and style, the majority of players found those same elements frustrating or off-putting, leading to a far more mixed or even negative reception. Most felt Sticker Star sucked. So ultimately, IGN's review came across as out of touch with the broader player base. By not addressing the specific aspects that would impact players' enjoyment, like the stress of managing stickers or the sense of restriction it created, they missed key points that could have better aligned their review with the public's perspective. The review came across as what many today might call IGN spreading toxic positivity instead of delivering an assessment that would genuinely help most readers. Instead of acknowledging the game's more divisive aspects, they leaned into excessive praise, making the review less practical for the average consumer. Essentially meaning that, in my opinion, the review failed its target audience. In the case of Mario and Luigi Brothership, if we compare IGN's review to those from other publications, it seems like we might be seeing the same situation unfold, but in reverse. This time it looks like they could be unfairly criticising a game that most players are likely to enjoy. Of course, we won't know for sure until the game's release, but the early impressions suggest IGN's review may not align with the broader public's experience. So take what they have to say with the biggest pinch of salt in the world. What's truly amazing is that many of the elements IGN criticises in Mario and Luigi are exactly what fans of the series would celebrate. For instance, they bash it for being packed with dad jokes and lengthy dialogue, features that define the charm and humour of Mario RPGs. Beyond complaints about platforming and frame rate, what seems to bother them most is the story itself and the game's tendency to guide players through it. Essentially, despite Mario and Luigi being a family game designed for both young children and adults, IGN's main gripe seems to be that they feel this Mario offering is condescending to its audience in both storytelling and guidance. Ironically, they criticise it for the very same traits they would praise in Dragon Age: The Veilguard, a title aimed at a much older audience. This double standard is striking, as the gentle hand-holding and accessible storytelling in Mario and Luigi looks like it should make the game approachable for younger players while still charming long-time fans, which is exactly what a family-friendly game should achieve. Amongst a review, they would bury the title, stating that apart from its action-packed, turn-based battles, it fails in almost every way to recapture the magic of the best Mario and Luigi games, while also clinging to their bad habits like ridiculously chatty dialogue, overbearing hand-holding, and boring runtime padding fetch quests. They add, the tutorials and dialogue are constantly holding your hand. For example, almost any time you enter a new area, the camera slowly pans over to your objective and slowly pans back, followed by an excruciatingly long explanation from a new assistant named Snoutlet, who basically spells out exactly what you need to do. The dialogue repeatedly reminds you of the overarching story and objective, and Brothership spends far too much of its already bloated 34-hour runtime rehashing the same tired notes. I would be more forgiving of the overwhelming amount of text if the humour and story were on point, but unfortunately, the writing just doesn't land. Brothership makes an admirable attempt at telling a story about the importance of friendship and connections and the dangers of isolation, but it's another area where the idea is better than the execution. The writing is just so unoriginal, and I didn't get attached to any of Brothership's large cast. Now, here is what seems really stupid and hypocritical about this review. The criticisms levelled at Mario and Luigi, like excessive dialogue, overbearing guidance, and tedious fetch quests, could easily be directed at much of modern gaming, not just this title. All the above issues seem to be far more present in Dragon Age, yet the very same publication did not scrutinise that game to close to the same level and instead awarded The Veilguard 9 out of 10. I think that most of us would agree that many contemporary games struggle to balance engaging storytelling with player freedom, often resorting to lengthy cutscenes, heavy-handed tutorials, and repetitive tasks to extend playtime. Even some of the greatest modern video games around, such as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, can be guilty of this, so why be so harsh against this Mario game for featuring the same tropes as other titles? This trend of runtime padding and hand-holding has become common, as developers aim to make games accessible to all players, but it often backfires by stifling exploration and autonomy, even in genres where discovery is central to the experience. What IGN criticises here isn't unique to Mario and Luigi, it's a reflection of broader industry practices that seek to guide, explain and stretch content to appeal to everyone but risk frustrating dedicated players along the way. I fully believe Mario and Luigi featured these sorts of issues, as this seems common across the entire gaming medium. The bit I am really perplexed about, though, is why they are choosing to criticise this game for these issues but not others that are guilty of the same problem. When it comes to Mario and Luigi exhibiting these issues, I fully believe it. After all, this kind of thing is practically woven into the fabric of modern gaming, but what really puzzles me though is why IGN singles out Mario and Luigi for criticism while giving a free pass to countless other titles guilty of the same flaws. It really helps perpetuate the theory that IGN will praise one game over another for political reasons or monetary gain, rather than based on consistent, unbiased standards. The review system certainly doesn't feel fair or balanced. This selective criticism can leave fans wondering if certain games are given a free pass because they're bigger, more lucrative titles, while smaller or family-orientated titles are scrutinised more harshly to uphold a certain image or align with Western industry pressures. This has sparked a wave of jokes online, with people humorously suggesting that IGN didn't give Brothership a higher review score because clearly the playable characters are just white dudes and the game doesn't include enough trans characters. Fans are poking fun at the idea that IGN might have hidden criteria, imagining their review checklist. Cool gameplay? Check. Humor? Check. Diverse cast? Uh-oh. Deduction. To be fair, while jokes, there is an element of truth to this, given that IGN has notably praised games like Dragon Age simply for including a non-binary character. If they were awarding higher scores based on what they see as inclusive practices, by that nature it implies that games with more traditional casts may be scoring lower by default. This approach suggests that representation alone can and has swayed their ratings, creating an uneven playing field where a game's cast diversity seems to factor as much into the score as the gameplay itself. So, picking apart Mario and Luigi while giving a pass to Dragon Age, a game some players found so bogged down with stiff dialogue that it felt like HR had written it, seems more than a little unfair. Games across the industry rely on heavy dialogue, excessive hand-holding, and padding with repetitive quests, yet these aspects are often overlooked or even praised in other titles. This raises the question of why Mario and Luigi is judged so harshly when these issues are widely accepted, even celebrated in other games. I think it goes without saying that the skepticism towards IGN's review isn't unwarranted. In fact, it's practically inevitable. They carved out a niche in gaming journalism where it feels like consistency and integrity comes second to maintaining an image of pandering to broader industry whims. It's almost laughable how this double standard persists. Fans aren't blind to it, and they're clearly not fooled by it. The selective criticism hints at an agenda, one where certain games are lauded not for their gameplay, but how well they fit into IGN's unwritten, perhaps politically driven criteria. Meanwhile, a light-hearted, family-oriented game like Mario and Luigi gets flack for the same padding and hand-holding that passes as immersive storytelling in bigger, trendier games. The truth is, most players don't want too much hand-holding and runtime padding, but if it's there, they want it critiqued fairly across the board. When they see games with bloated dialogue, uninspired mechanics, and poor narrative stories being given 9 out of 10, like in Dragon Age's case, while Mario and Luigi gets slammed for similar flaws, it's enough to make anyone question IGN's motives, and honestly, that's fair game. If you are like me and are tired of gaming news sites steering you wrong, remember you can forget the mixed messages, as user reviews are where the real truth lies. And with my exclusive affiliate links, you can snag massive discounts on some of the most loved games out there. I've got you covered on everything from AAA hits to indie gems and retro classics, all by using my links via the pinned comment. But if you want to support my independent voice in a more personal way, access my cosplay library and become a backer over on Patreon.